I mean, I do hope that the KT Bullets didn't take too hard of a nosedive. A lot of the reason why Limit also went with Nagne over to the Bullets was because those two players actually really like to play with each other. They were formerly on Never Die, an amateur team together, so they have a lot of trust and a lot of built-up synergy already. So both of them heading over, but Leopard having no problems, and now he is the Duke, and he is picking Cassidy first in this game.
Yep, Kurro's going to be grabbing that one for the mid lane. The Thresh ban did come in against Kane as well, and Kane a standout Thresh player, so no big surprise from that ban.
And interestingly, Kane, the only remaining player now on NaJin Sword since their OGN Champions season, winning season in winter 2012-2013.
Yeah, it's really amazing how teams kind of rise and fall here in Korea. There's just so much talent that we have a team that just a little over a year ago was able to win a whole season of champions, and now only one player remains from the original team, and they're fighting just to get into the tournament.
Yeah, indeed. And so we do see a Lulu pick up alongside Shyvana here. So a couple power picks falling over to the first rotation on the red side.
Yep.
Not really clear where this Lulu is going to be going. Could be support. Probably going to be a mid lane up against that Kassadin for some early harass, but you never know. Does have that flexibility. Hojin, now Hojin and Masters actually played pretty mechanically sound, especially on Evelynn and Lee Sin. So not going to be too surprising if he grabs that up. Lee Sin.
Lee Sin. There it is. And possibly the Kog'Maw pickup for OQ. We'll see. Picking kind of early though, wouldn't it be?
It is, but they're pretty confident, I suppose, that they're going to have to take the Nami away right now.
Yeah.
But the Nami Yasuo still could come in here. Kha'Zix's taken in the jungle, so they're actually saving their final pick. Looks like for the AD carry here from Anarchy, so it will be indeed a mid-lane Lulu.
All right. Final two picks over to NaJin Black Sword. I'd love to see Swain, but I doubt we will see him for a long, long time, if ever. Unless he gets some buffs, basically. He was great in Earth, though. Swain was so much fun in Earth, dude.
Oh, boy. And Mordekaiser, I don't think that's going to be showing up, but the Leona Kog'Maw is a bit awkward. A little bit too all-in for Kog'Maw in the early levels, but the Nami already being removed. Could run it perhaps with a Morgana or something like that instead to offer a little bit more peel.
Yeah. Oh, Kurro on, oh, that would be interesting. Huh. Oh, okay. Okay, now things have gotten a bit interesting. So, what do you think we're going to see here? Who's going to go to the top lane and who's going mid out of Kassadin and Orianna?
It's possible that they're going to give an early blue buff to Orianna and send her into a side lane just to hold against in a 1v2.
That could be.
But wow, the Kassadin pickup, very odd for a top lane, but it does look like just with the teleport up that Duke will be playing that champion.
Easy answer, it's going to be jungle Kassadin top Lee Sin. Duh. Of course.
Clearly.
How could I be Clearly so jungle Kassadin top Lee Sin. Jinx the final pickup for Anarchy. A strong pickup. Late game carrying potential extraordinaire. And a solid team, I feel like, put together for Anarchy here. And NaJin's interesting, but we'll see how well it works out.
It is a little weird that we don't see Lucian in this game.
Yeah.
But they may just be trying to get that 1v2 with the Jinx, as we typically see, push down some faster towers. Because if you see this Kassadin, he's not going to have the greatest wave clear early on, so if you can get a 2v1 into his lane, you will be able to push that tower pretty quickly.
Yeah. Thinking about the late game, though, with Kassadin Orianna combo, you know, Solar Flare, then you go ahead and hit him with the Shockwave, and Kassadin comes in and just finishes people off. That's a scary late game combo, potentially.
Yeah, but if you get into a 1v2 with Kassadin, he doesn't have the best jungling abilities, so the jungle follow going to be a lot slower. CV Max will get ahead in levels. I think this is a pretty good, or pretty big risk, actually, by NaJin Black Sword, and it's up to Anarchy to punish it.
Certainly is. We'll see if they can. We're into loading screen now, so within moments, NaJin Black Sword and Anarchy will fight for that chance to play against SK Telecom S for a spot in Champion Summer. A big game for both these teams, a lot to prove on both sides of Summoner's Rift. Who will take it? Let's get into the game and find out. here we are, guys, our second game of the night, match 2, NaJin Black Sword versus Team Anarchy. And there is that top Kassadin, played by Duke, formerly known as Leopard, but now he is the Duke. And I'm not talking about the original Xbox controller. I liked that controller, by the way.
You're the only person who did.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I know of at least one other person that liked that controller. It's true.
Well, I'm very curious to see how Anarchy deals with this situation. They haven't bought a ward at level 1, which would allow them to get a bit easier of a lane swap coming in. Now, perhaps CV Max is very confident in his abilities to lane and deny this Kassadin early on, but with the Crystal and Flask, he will have some pretty good sustain up there. And against another melee champion, he will be in a little bit better condition.
Nope, the Duke. Checking out the try. Oh, nice. CV Max handling that ward with ease, with his dragon hands, dragon face hands.
And Duke actually starting with 68 attack damage, so he's going to be hitting pretty hard actually in melee trades and auto attack trades in lane. So
yeah.
Very interesting build that we see from this Kassadin player, and Sevilla will be going up to the top side of the map, so when all is said and done, we're going to have a 2v2 and a 1v1 again. No lane swap coming in from Anarchy.
Oh, okay. And do you feel like that's mandatory in this game? Do you feel like they need to punish this, or is it okay this way?
I think you definitely should. You don't need to, but in this situation, if you can force Kassadin into a jungle, that's going to be absolutely great for you.
Yeah.
And also, you have the tower speed advantage too with Jinx. I don't see why you wouldn't. But maybe they have a special plan in store, though.
We'll see. A little bit of trading onto NaJin right away. Kayn being very aggressive in lane. He does have that relic shield, of course. The spell thief's edge for NaJin, so he'll be able to gain some gold that way. Excuse me. Oh.
Yeah, and look at this. CV Max actually just dancing around very passively versus this Kassadin in the lane. So it looks like Cass maybe getting quite a bit of farm right here. OQ doing some early trading. Bio-Arcane Barrage. Sangyun doing the same thing with his rocket launcher, but they will push them off due to the range of that zone. They have to be a little bit careful that Kayn doesn't get onto them, but Sevilla down on the bottom side of the map, so they've got that going for them at the very least. They have the jungle pressure, not too afraid of Lee Sin ganking right here at level 3.
Yeah, they got that early level 2 as well, so Kayn and OQ not a huge danger right now to Sangyun and NaJin. Those are two very Korean names for those players' IDs.
Yeah, it's their first names, both of them.
That's right, yeah.
Just keeping it simple.
I suppose technically, well, NJBS would be NJBS. A little bit different, but hard to say in a team fight. Difficult. And so they'll just pop up, put a ward in the try, and then back off. So a pretty strong start for Anarchy anyway in the bot lane. CV Max is trying to lane against Duke. He's getting some farm now. He's actually managed to pull ahead.
Well, but there's a big wave coming in right now, so Duke's going to pick up some farm and probably just go even or just slightly behind, which is, of course, just absolutely fine if you're going to be playing a Kassadin in this situation. You're looking for that ability to outscale and that threat come the late game.
Yep, that's right. Kassadin, one of those champs that doesn't rely on like early all-ins or early kills. He can come back strong. So Lee may try for a bit of a gank in the mid lane. We'll see. I feel like Rinder has a good idea of what's up, but there we go. The distance slows him down. Rinder made a bit of trouble. They get the flash. There we go. So that's a win. No summoners used on the side of NaJin, but Rinder did use his, so successful gank for Lee and Kuro.
Yeah, that dissonance actually hitting right there. Rinder not avoiding that fast enough, which actually forced him to use his flash. So a little bit of a misplay by Rinder. He could have probably dodged that a bit faster, but it's okay. He still gets out of that situation without giving up the first blood. In the meantime, Sangyun and NaJin just continuing to prune the wave right here. They've stopped playing aggressively, at least for the moment. Happy to have that wave push up near them, farm safely close to their turret.
Yeah. And yeah, they won't have any trouble with this. And they'll still be ahead on CS once they pick up this wave, I would imagine.
Yeah, it can be a bit hard, though. They are getting harassed pretty badly by that Bio-Arcane Barrage. Sevilla now looking for A little bit of a ward mission right now. Not going to see anything. He may try and make a play onto Oriana, but he doesn't really have a good angle yet. But Ori walking up.
Yeah, and they don't really know where Lee is right now. We know he's in the bot lane, but Anarchy not so sure. And I suppose it's probably making Lee a little bit more cautious as well.
Yeah.
Or Sevilla, rather.
Everything just farming here, which
yeah,
bit of a surprise this early on. Again, the lane swap situation, a little more expected from Anarchy, but just not actually happening this game.
Then they didn't do it. It's Anarchy. Whoa, Kuro getting jumped on the Ignite, taking away. Can they get him? They will. First blood goes to Sevilla.
Nice time for the level as well. Just a little bit of extra insurance right there. CV Max going aggressive onto Duke.
Yeah, Duke trying to back off, doesn't need to use any summoners, but CV Max clearly with the edge in this lane. He did go back, picked up another Doran's item, and look at that, stopping the Duke from recalling. CV Max harassing so hard. The Duke may be in a little bit of trouble here. The summoner's still up, so he would have gotten away either way, but still a close call.
And Ultu gets hit by an Aqua Prison.
Nice Aqua Prison, but he still has a flash. He should be able to get away. They do change and turn around onto Sangyun. NaJin trying to keep him healthy with the ebb and flow. Kane a little bit low now as well.
Yeah, everybody running low on mana on the side of Anarchy, so they will have to back off of that one. And actually the trade going in favor of NaJin.
Zenith Blade comes in. They get the stun onto NJBS, but I don't think they're going to be able to follow up. But NaJin getting a little bit low.
Ooh, popping the passive with the Void Ooze onto both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Very well traded there by NaJin Blacksword. CV Max pushing the wave into the turret, then going back and dealing with the double golems. He was a little bit behind it.
Lee coming in for the dive, but Rinder and Sevilla are there. Lee's going to have to safeguard over the wall over to that ward. That does save Sangyun and NaJin.
Trying to clear out this pink ward while they can. Kuro doesn't want that to happen, but Sevilla will get it out of the way quite easily.
Yep.
Rinder now retreating over to the minion wave. And there we go, clearing it out. So just a pretty passive game so far. Some close calls and one kill onto Kuro in the mid lane.
Yeah,
CV Max
does the ultimate going on to Duke, trying to push him out of lane again. Winning that 1v1, he's just going to sit there and farm a little bit. Duke not really in a position to contest this that much.
Well, he's gone for a Sheen first, so really bizarre build from Duke right now, but with that earlier attack damage, he will be hitting pretty hard with that item and getting some decent trades down. So, a bit curious. I'm very intrigued to see where this top lane Kassadin Sheen first build is going.
Yeah, they're going to go in on the Kuro again. Sevilla and Rinder trying for the gank, and they do get Shockwave. Lee right there, and so it looks like Kuro will make it out.
Yeah, he does. So, but they burned an ult. Rinder still has his up in case it's needed. And so they're going to feel pretty comfortable about that. They aren't able to take away the blue buff, though.
Yeah.
So blue buff for blue buff right there.
Still a pretty passive game overall. Just a couple little ganks here and there. Mostly just farming.
Yeah, it's interesting, too. The Netherblade, of course, will be... It's an on-hit ability, so it will apply the Sheen procs. So he's just looking to get some very fast trades in with his W. I'm actually very curious as to what he's going to be skilling up.
We'll have to see if we can get the Observer to click on him a little bit. See what the abilities have been.
And also it'll keep him spamming abilities as well, just because the mana restored. So it's been interesting, and we did see Duke with the heavy attack damage, runes, and masteries early on. So,
how much into AD do you think you would really go on this top Kassadin?
Well, Kassadin has he had 68 at level 1, and his base attack damage is 52, so that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It makes you wonder, you know?
So he's really just about hitting really hard with the Sheen early on with the Netherblade. This is a build that I've never seen before, so very interesting, but it's hard to argue about its efficacy because he's already up in terms of CS against a Shyvana. Shyvana is actually building a she's had to go 2 Doran's items and now a Negatron cloak as well. And Duke is doing a lot of attack damage with that Sheen. So
yeah, there we go. Wow, getting CV Max really low, actually.
Yeah, really interesting build, actually. I mean, I can't obviously do the math crafting on the fly right now, but definitely working out, at least in the laning phase. I'm interested to see where this is going. If it's going to turn into something like an Iceborne Gauntlet.
They're going to go in on a Sangyun. There's a nice solar flare. They've got him dead to rights. No escape for Sangyun, and now NaJin trying to run away as well. He's got that flash, doesn't need to use it as Sevilla is coming down, but just a really, really nice 2v2 all in from OQ and Kane. That's a veteran play right there.
Yeah, and just good game sense as well. Backing out at the last second. They didn't even see Sevilla coming down there. They just knew they shouldn't over pursue that. They got their advantage. No need. Okay, let's check this out.
Well, yeah, they didn't need to pursue.
He is maxing out his W first, and he's going for Trinity Force.
Yeah, really cool. If this works, it's going to be all over the Korean ladder tomorrow.
Wow.
Very neat. T-Force Kassadin.
Well, of course, the Trinity Force will make that W hit really hard as well.
Yeah.
And gives him some of that extra tankiness that he might need. I thought he might be going for the Iceborne just because of the cooldown reduction, so he can continue to spam his W, but not going to be the case.
Dragon will be the case for Team Anarchy, and it looks like they should get this one unopposed, so they will stay even in gold. No trips down there. Oh, CV Max gets ganked. That'll be a kill for Lee and Duke. Duke actually getting the killing blow, so that's big. Duke has just been pretty much rocking CV Max in this top lane.
Yeah, he's really surprising, and
it's
this is extra weird, Noah, that NaJin Blacksword prepared this, because on blue side, you don't expect Kassadin to get through picks and bans.
That's a good point.
And to have such a strange pocket pick for a champion that is unlikely to show up in your game is weird. It's very weird.
It is odd. You know, I know for the games past these first couple at least, they do rock, paper, scissors to decide sides. I wonder if they decided before the broadcast for the first two games as well, or if they just decided at the studio.
Usually I've seen them deciding at the studio here. But
yeah. So could be they just didn't know what side they were going to end up on and just prepared either way.
Well, I doubt you leave up Kassadin if you're not NaJin Blacksword and you're playing on red side.
That's a good point too, yeah.
This had to be something that they were assuming was going to happen on blue side when they didn't ban it out in case their opponents did. But bizarre, creative, reactive play.
Very cool.
And it's hard to say that it's going wrong because it's working so far.
Big CS lead now for Duke and a kill. Getting close to finishing that Trinity Force actually as well. Kuro getting a little bit pincered by Render and Sevilla, but Lee is there. There's the shockwave. Kuro trying to get saved here. The tidal wave comes through. Lee in the back tries to take out Sevilla, doesn't have enough. He's going to queue over to NaJin. Sangyun coming up though. Kane, there's the solar flare. They locked on Sangyun. A double kill for Duke as he comes down with the teleport, and he doesn't want to stop there. That's a triple kill for this future Trinity Force Duke, and I think he's going to have the T-Force after that.
This build is
hilarious. Awesome, man. I love it. I love it. All the more reason to ban Kassadin on red side now. As if you didn't need enough reasons.
I don't think we're ever going to see this build again, but it sure is working well.
It is indeed, and Render,
Kuro
just getting a little bit too far up. Yeah, an easy pickup for Render.
Very silly for him to stay around when he was at such low HP, and he did barely survive the Ignite with the help of that Command Protect earlier on and just showing back up into lane and having pretty foolish death, but big minion wave into the turret right now. It will be caught by Sangyun in the bottom lane.
Yep.
Let's check that out again. So we do see the Kassadin coming in. And look at the mobility on this Bruiser. Oh, CV Max had no ult to stop him, so he didn't feel threatened at all. Duke just avoiding the traps. You can see he's not actually dealing that much damage. It's really just the CC. And you combine the Sheen with the passive from Leona, and Jinx just explodes.
Wow. So cool. You know, it is something that you do probably want to pair with Leona as well, just for even more addition to the damage.
Yeah, definitely. The auto attack burst is pretty darn ridiculous.
Yeah.
And when you look at Kassadin's kit too, he's got that high mobility to close onto carries. He's got a CC with the slow, and when he's constantly returning his mana, he could just spam out that Sheen really actively, as well as popping back there to interrupt any channels. And he's got a shield for that extra magic resist too. So if you actually think about the Trinity Force, it does work. Now he's going to be building into a tier. Now, this is probably going to be a Muramana.
I would imagine it would fit with the direction he's going already. Why not?
And that just adding even more burst with the Sheen. Oops.
Oh, Shockwave does not
wing and a miss.
Oops. You're out. So Duke is like getting up there with the Gangplank and the Udyr. Gonna run in and just auto you to death.
Well, he's going in onto the Shyvana right now. He just rip walked up there, and we do see Lee also joining up.
Oh, Duke gets ulted. Lee is right there, though. Can he kick him out? Trying to get in position to hit him. Didn't end up working. Oh, well.
Missing that point-blank Q, so they can't actually finish that one off. Lee gets a consolation smite onto a minion.
Hey, man, a little extra gold when you use it. Why not? The cooldown was up. Minute 30 till drag. He's fine.
Yeah, the scary thing about Duke's build, too, is he's actually going to be surprisingly effective at split pushing.
Yeah.
And also, if you send players up to stop him, who is going... He's just too slippery. He's playing Kassadin. He doesn't really have to use his mana for anything, and he'll get it recharged instantly by using his W.
So cool. I love it.
Pretty creative.
Yeah. So Anarchy certainly on the back foot now. They've gotten that first turret, but just a lot to worry about. I feel like we're going to see a pretty big boost in gold come in for NaJin Black's sword in the near future here.
Yeah, look at him just chunking down that tower.
Yeah. That's the thing. These towers getting a little bit low, and when multiple towers fall, the game just breaks wide open, and we'll see if NaJin's sword can do that.
Well, it looks like they're probably going to be able to snowball this game into a victory just based on the strangeness of this Kassadin play. Because at this point, too, the big problem here for Anarchy is they more than likely have no idea who can, like, what the power spikes of this Kassadin are. In fact, I don't know either. So coming in here, when they have to decide, how are we going to stop the Kassadin? CV Max isn't going to know very well if he can 1v1 against him. So when they recall and they think about redistributing lanes, or when they need to know where Sevilla needs to go in order to relieve pressure, it's kind of guesswork. And that's dangerous, because that way you can pull multiple people into lane when they're not necessarily needed, or...
Oh, he's going to go in onto CV Max there. A lot of damage. CV Max having to back off immediately.
Yeah, or you just don't send enough people up there, you get pushed out and you lose a turret.
Yeah.
Because one miscalculation here with this Trinity Force Kassadin will cause you to lose a tower.
Nobody expects the top lane Trinity Force Kassadin.
Certainly not.
Yep. I didn't.
Well, and the...
Oh, they're going to go in onto NaJin. Get slow clear. The traps do slow up Kayn a little bit. NaJin gets kicked out. Not the best kick for Lee, and here comes Sevilla over the top. Wild Growth does knock up OQ. He manages to make it out, though. Meanwhile, the fight continues in top lane.
Duke actually just teleported back up top right there, so not the best use of TP. Anarchy still has their TP available, so it's going to be hard for NaJin Shield to fight this.
Whoa, they're going to go on to game. Oh, there's a shockwave, though. Can they finish off Kayn? Not quite. NaJin doesn't need to turn around. Maybe they do now. Kayn does drop down. Are they going to actually chase this? It looks like they will. A Q onto Rinder, but Rinder's going to be just fine.
Well, CV Max deciding not to port. His ult was already blown, and Duke walked away. And the trickiest thing about what Duke has been doing, too, is that he's been hiding inside the jungle and popping out to harass. So if CV Max starts to teleport, there's a good chance that Duke just hops over the wall and uses his Q to interrupt the channel. Yeah. And that's like really dangerous. So there's always that preying in the back of CV Max's mind as well.
This is a bit of an awkward fight for NaJin. They really tried to force it here. Didn't end up working out terribly well.
Yeah, well, I mean, they lose Kayn, but they actually do retain the dragon.
They got dragon, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, they chunk him out, so definitely worth it, but there was a price to be paid. And
no perfect game.
Distortion enchantment onto Duke as well, just because. Why not?
Why not? And they're going to walk into this bot lane. They'll be able to kill this turret so fast. If they can get to it, that turret is not long for this world. Meanwhile, top lane pushing in favor of Anarchy at least.
Yeah, they're not going to have a teleport to stop that, so Kuro has to rotate into the top lane in order to deal with the wave and get blue buff at the same time. So good multi-purpose, but he won't have an issue with that. And actually, Duke going to go ahead and recall so that he can get that CS, even though he already has 4-0 and 0.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what he's building anymore.
Chain vest. Okay. Well, it's so he can get into the back lines against Jinx, you know.
Sure, I mean,
He's a top laner. That's what he does.
That would work. He could be going for a Glacial Shroud here and a possible Frozen Heart pickup. I don't know. It could be a GA. It could be any number of things.
We'll just have to wait and see.
I don't have great insight into Trinity Force top lane Kassadin. Sorry, guys.
I thought you were an expert at League of Legends, Monte Cristo. Clearly, this is not the case.
Hey, I've done as well theory crafting on the fly as I can.
I commend you. You've done an excellent job.
Well, I mean, Duke needs to make another play on the map here pretty soon. The teleport's still up. CV Max with that advantage. They need to group and actually take something right here. CV Max has been playing very passive, and he's fallen behind, well behind in terms of kills. He finally has at least some armor, because that was actually his problem earlier, was he was taking a surprising amount of physical damage, but he was itemizing for MR, even though Duke was not going for very much AP.
CV Max has a Banshee's Veil right off the bat, which I suppose against the AP that's coming in from NaJin isn't a bad pickup.
Right, but it's still not going to do the best against this Trinity Force Kassadin.
Yeah, I suppose it does keep him a little bit more protected against Orianna and makes the team fighting a little bit easier for him anyway. The engages are something that Anarchy is going to really be counting on.
Duke only has 1 point in Riftwalk at level 13. This is such a weird build, Noah. I don't even know what to think about this.
Oh boy, CV Max are going to go on him now. Has Flash, has the ultimate. Can they catch him? There's the ult. They're going to continue to chase him. The auto attack's coming down fast and furious, but they're going to have to let him go. Meanwhile, a fight in the bot lane. Will we see teleports? Kane trying to get back in there, but Sevilla will pick up the kill. So that's going to be a dive onto CV Max under the top lane tier 2 turret. Duke taking those turret hits, but whoa, CV Max manages to survive. Nearly gets a kill or two out of that as well. Oh, Hello Rocket. Whoa! That was close.
Just zipping across the map right there. And I'm not sure if that's a mistake from Duke that he didn't skill his ult or not, but probably not. However, the mana cost, like, the tier is there because Riftwalk scales off of maximum mana right now. So you're going to be dealing more damage with that over time, and that part of the ult doesn't change as you level it. So it's mostly the cooldown that's a little bit puzzling, but apparently he doesn't want the cooldown on the Riftwalk that much yet. He just wants to get another point into Null Sphere. I don't know if that's the,
Why would
the
you want to do that?
best. I don't know.
That's AD Kassadin.
It doesn't reduce the cooldown, and you would think since he already has the tier and he's got some extra mana from the Trinity Force as well, that you would want to actually use your itemized better for scaling on that right now than you are onto the Null Sphere.
Right. Weird. Well,
he's going to go for Randuin's Omen, apparently. That's what the Chain Vest is for. I suppose possibly a Sunfire Cape.
You know, again, I mean, he wants to get into the back lines. He wants to get onto Sangyun, I suppose. Sangyun.
Now, the thing about the itemization that we've seen from Duke is he's kind of past his power spike. He did have that big one right when he got the Trinity Force, but now he's got a little more tank items, so his damage not quite so bursty anymore. He's going to have to stick around and do some more sustained punishment.
Yep. Oh, did they get Sevilla? Not quite enough. Shockwave was used there by Kuro.
If he had gone straight into the Muramana, I think that may have been a little bit better just in terms of maximizing his damage early on. But he'll probably get that eventually. And then,
nice double Aqua Prison. There's the tidal wave as well. Can they pick off OQ? That's the question. They're going to try to come in with CV Max, who actually gets kicked closer. Nice wild growth. Helps lock up NaJin again. There's a double kill for CV Max. Now Duke coming in, but it's a little bit too late. And it is going to be an ace possibly in favor of Anarchy. No, Duke barely escapes. But it might as well be an ace because Anarchy is going to get some decent objectives out of this.
Yeah, they're pushing forward pretty relentlessly right now. They got a nice minion wave. And right there, a little bit of a late teleport from Duke. And the thing about this Kassadin is he's in a really weird position right now where he doesn't have the Randuins yet, so he can't actually slow everybody down. And he didn't itemize for a lot of burst damage, so he's not able to split push 1v1 duel anybody anymore and actually just quickly take a tower. So he's kind of not really filling either role particularly well at the moment, in spite of how good it seemed early on.
Well, Anarchy taking a gold lead, taking a tower lead, and they'll take Dragon on the way out. Solid advantage now for Anarchy.
They didn't get Baron, they didn't get an inhibitor though, so it's definitely not the end of the road for NaJin Black Shield.
Oh no,
or
not
Black
at all.
Sword.
For neither. One doesn't exist and one's okay.
True enough.
Yep.
Well, Cassidy gonna go back right now and take a look at that again. So basically the double bubble was absolutely huge right there. And look at that.
What a hero.
NaJin just comboing that beautifully into the tidal wave. Oku gets caught out far too forward, and then CV Max coming in. Cassidy's teleport, by the time he gets there, Oku is effectively dead. And even though he pops into the back line onto this Jinx, the heals keep her alive for a couple more auto attacks. And it's just Duke is not bursty enough right here. Yeah, he can sustain that damage, but he only gets one kill. And by that time, the rest of his team has met their demise. He does have a Randuin's Omen now, however.
I gotta say, Lee's Lee Sin play has not been totally stellar this game. I mean, he's had a couple awkward kicks, including that one, which actually kicked CV Max into a better position into that team fight.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of an off game for Lee.
Well, again, the next power spike will come when this tier is actually done stacking for Duke, and I'm very interested in what it's going to become.
Yeah. You ever wonder about static Shiv on Kog'Maw? Like, does that mean his spittle becomes electrified? Like,
it does seem it would shock him internally as he spits it.
I know, right? Where does he keep this Shiv exactly?
He puts the blade in his mouth.
See, this is not a good idea. Shouldn't run with a static Shiv in your mouth.
An electric Shiv in your mouth?
Yep.
Well, Kog'Maw's a void monster. He's immune to your sissy rules, Doa.
That is true. Yeah, he can put pretty much anything in his mouth, I would think.
Well, his maw is so empty.
That's right.
So he has to fill it with lightning knives.
Why not? And a sword and a bow and arrow, apparently. And boots, I guess, because he's not wearing them. It's like one of those sharks, they cut it open and they find like a bank or something inside of it. Or a car. It's a big shark that I'm imagining here. Part of my vision is this big shark that eats banks, I guess.
Well, I have honestly no response to that, Doa.
Well, as you shouldn't. That's right. Just take it in. Just soak it in.
I'm soaking.
Soak it all in. Bank-eating sharks. A little bit of a lull in the action as Anarchy kind of regroups a bit, just sort of gets all their lanes pushed up. It's important to take time to make sure that you kind of use a fight like that to get that map control, pushing all your lanes up, getting in better position to take objectives. Duke and CV Max, pretty even up now as far as the dueling goes.
Yeah, vision control around the Baron Pit definitely going in Anarchy's favor at the moment,
Yeah.
and both top laners do. Oh!
Tidal wave, whoa, that was a bit ambitious, but they do catch Lee with the Glitter Lance, and they catch Kane with the slow. There's the bubble. Meanwhile, CV Max gets caught. Will Anarchy get something out of this on the Kane at least? We'll see, because here comes the rest of NaJin's sword. Duke into the middle of the back lines. He's all over Songyun. Yujin trying to keep him safe. Rinder gets kicked away. Looks like Songyun will go down. There's a double kill from Duke. That's what they wanted. A kill from OQ as well, and that could very well be a Baron for NaJin's sword.
And that was the big difference, was the Randuin's Omen in the back line there. He was able to CC everybody, slow them up in combination with the Force Pulse, as well as taking away some of that attack speed from the Jinx, and that allowed everybody to catch up and for this Kassadin to get the kill. Not only that, but a very poor engage from Anarchy. CV Max caught out of position. Sevilla just not there as well. A tidal wave only hitting a support.
Really not the best ultimates or anything. And CV Max just totally away from everybody else.
And he just gets chunked out so fast with that percent health damage coming out of Kog'Maw as well.
Yeah.
Kane able to utilize that choke. Force Pulse goes down. And look at this. They're just all over Songyun right now. Perfect kiting there coming in from Duke. He re-engages for the double.
This is just like a well-realized, well-played top lane Kassadin. I mean, he's filling the role that top laners do right now. He's just doing it in a really unique way.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned that he can't carry harder, even though he's 7-0-1. He did seem to have a very hard one core item power spike, and then he fell off. He's actually going for an Archangel staff.
Huh, so there comes a little bit of AP now.
So doing some good mix damage here, and so is Kog'Maw.
Hard to itemize against this.
It is hard to itemize against this, but I don't know. I think the Muramana is still a better choice.
Well, the big story now is what can NaJin Blacksword do with this Baron buff? They've gotten it, they've won some team fights, but can they turn this into a few objectives? They're still just even on turrets.
Yeah, the reason why I think that the Muramana and Manamune is a little bit better is because...
Well, never mind, there's a bit of a fight. Duke has to Rift Walk out of there. And will they turn around? The Q on the CV Max is going to try to do it. Got Safeguard back. They're going to actually continue to go on to CV Max. NaJin looking a bit indecisive there. You know, do they want to go in? Do they want to just hold off? And they will end up holding off in the end. No ults really used there, so it is okay.
All right, guys, so I'm going to keep theory crafting.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm not sitting here with a calculator, so I may be wrong, but the reason why I think Muramana is better is because W will restore a large percentage of his missing damage, and since Muramana... Yes. And since Muramana and Manamune, the damage is based off of how much mana you have in your that you have at the time, it would keep it topped off in terms of damage.
Yeah, that sounds right. And they're going to try to go in onto Yujin there. There's a Solar Flare. The Tidal Wave comes through. Now we need the rest of NaJin to come in, but Songyun coming from the top gets chunked out nearly immediately. OQ with 1 kill, another one coming in, and now Duke coming in with the cleanup. Sevilla has to exit the fight post-haste, and CV Max flashing over the wall. It looks like Lee will chase him. A double kill for OQ. And they're not done yet. CV Max, I don't know if he's going to make it out of this one. They are under turret, but it's going to be another kill for NaJin Blacksword. And another ace for them as well. Yeah. Only losing Kane in that fight.
Risky engage while he had Baron onto the Dragon, but Anarchy is fighting a losing battle right now. But this is going to mean a pretty free inhibitor for NaJin and Blacksword at the moment. And they're going to take the bottom inhib. They're going to roll back and probably take that Dragon right afterwards and set up for a second Baron with the help of the bottom inhib being down.
Yeah, why not? There we go. OQ deciding to take the way that gets him hit by turrets a lot. Why not? Goes over the mid lane. They'll push that up, and it's not like he can't sustain back up on a minion anyway.
Yeah, they're just trying to get as much pressure as possible. He's going to check the red buff on his way out, too, which is why he's going to be there. They do catch NaJin out right away.
Good Solar Flare.
Solar Flare just hitting several members square on Yujin's face. Songyun coming in from the flank, but he doesn't want to be there right as Duke manages to get into the fray from the flank. And OQ well protected from the backside, dealing all of that damage. There was actually a missed shockwave up on the top side. Kuro again missing a shockwave. Very uncharacteristic of him as a Orianna, a heavy Orianna player, but he's had a few pretty bad misses so far this game. And even though the fight was already over, he used the shockwave before he moved the ball back up into the topside jungle.
Yeah. Well, luckily for him, the rest of NaJin Blacksword seems to be having no trouble carrying those team fights anyway. Up to a 7,000 gold lead now, at a time, though, where the gold leads aren't as critical. But they are up 6-4 in terms of turrets, and they have the inhibitor. So this game, NaJin's to win or lose right now.
Well, it's going to keep on pushing. Baron buff is down.
Yeah.
But they do have that super minion advantage, so they will start taking a look up at the top lane.
Well, Anarchy, you know, their only hope of really coming back here is to have some sort of massive defensive fight win. If they can do that and then take some objectives, maybe they'll be okay, but it's looking pretty unlikely that they're going to come out of this one with a win.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Doa. And the siege starting up right now. They do have a lot of... Oh, boy.
Oh, there's a shockwave that missed, or hit, rather. I said missed because I was looking at the Lee Sin Q right when that missed.
The heal had to be used immediately, but that combined with Ebb and Flow does get NaJin a little bit more healthy. And then another good combo from Ori will take him right back down. The Kog'Maw ultimate, picking him for just a little bit more damage.
Oh, and now
here we go, Duke.
Yeah, starting the split push, and he's going to kill these turrets really quick. Now they have to send a couple people to deal with him, and he just rift walks away. Easy.
Just standing there, being as annoying as possible. He drew 3 people down, though, so that means the top lane turret is dead to rights.
Yeah, how do you handle this?
They also had to pull back and deal with the super minion wave that's bearing down on their Nexus turrets at the moment.
Yeah, the pressure is just too great right now. NaJin Blacksword, you know, unless they make some sort of colossal mistake, should be able to close this one out.
Yeah, and every time this Cassidy is left alone, he deals a little bit more damage with that Trinity Force to the mid lane towers, already at about 50% HP. Kog'Maw getting a lot of free hits.
Yeah, no kidding. That turret down to a little over half health now. And NaJin Black Sword, they can play this safe. You know, they aren't into huge rush at the moment. Got a big lead. They don't seem to be likely to lose it anytime soon. A lot of damage on the CB Max already. Here comes the tidal wave. OQ just flashes out of it. People getting kicked away. And Sevilla tries to get into the back lines, but just gets annihilated immediately. And Duke now going into the Anarchy team and causing a bit of it himself. Sangyun alive for now, but not for much longer. Render trying to get damage done, but he's going to get jumped on now for Duke. Oh, there's a Whimsy. And Duke, oh, the Command Protect saves him from dying to the turret, but it's not going to save Anarchy from dying to this NaJin Blacksword comp with this crazy top Kassadin. It worked. The Nexus getting taken down now, and there it is. GG, NaJin Blacksword will go on to face SKTS for a spot in Champion Summer.
Well, guys, I'll be interested to go home and run some numbers on that top lane Kassadin. 8-0-6 when all was said and done.
So that's a thing.
Apparently it is a thing.
Yeah. Who knew?
I'm not sure it's the best thing, but
it is a thing.
It is a thing.
A thing it is.